Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. We are very excited to share with you the progress that we've made since March, which was the last time that we posted a report. So here goes. Very excited to share with you everything that has happened. Even though Diamond Mountain has been closed for taking a break, the project has been ongoing and there have been no breaks. So regarding Stupa 1, the activities that have happened since March are as follows. We were working on the final touches for the stupa. There were a little bit of patching and sealing that had to be done, just everything was completed before they sealed it finally. We also planted a boulder as you're coming up towards the stupa, which is going to be what we call the donor boulder. And we're going to show a picture of that in a moment, and Sunam will explain exactly what that's going to be looking like. We did get to closing off and closing out and signing off Stupa 1. So it is complete. At the same time, we were updating the drawings because we had a lot of learning through the building of the first one. So we made sure that we captured all of those learnings and lessons and built it into the redesign for the next stupas that are coming up. Then I'm very excited about the statue that's going to be put inside the stupa in October. And I will not take away Sunam's story and pictures. She's got some of those to share with you a little bit later, so she can tell you the story about that. And it has arrived at Diamond Mountain. Our goals for the next quarter is to finalize the donor plaque, because we want to make sure in October, when we have Medicine Buddha retreat and we have our final ceremony, that is up and showing our gratitude for everyone who donated towards this particular stupa that's named Good Name. Also, of course, after construction, we want to make sure that we green up the area around the stupa a little bit and really make it beautiful and pleasant as you walk up there. And then, as I mentioned before, there's going to be a final grand opening in October during the Medicine Buddha retreat, and we will share a little bit more about that in a moment.
On the next picture, you will see the donor boulder. It's really very beautiful. It's when you're coming up to the stupa. So the stupa is more or less on the left side of the boulder when you're coming up, and attached to the boulder will be a steel plate with all the names carved of the donors who gave more than $5,000 to the first stupa. It's very excited how many names there are. There will be additional drawing of the valley with all the stupa located, and we are working on that, and then we will unreveal it in October during the grand opening ceremony. The next picture shows a little bit of the last finishing. So here is our beloved Joe doing the last part of the path leading up to the stupa, and then you see on the second picture it looks so beautiful, and using this a little bit reddish finishing on the ground really makes the stupa even pop out more. And yesterday arrived the statue, which will be put in the gao in the stupa. And this was really a long journey. It took me about 4 to 5 months, I think, to even find a statue maker, because you can find a lot of Medicine Buddha statues out there to buy, but none of Good Name, Suparakirti. So I found one. It was very beautiful. We had lots of discussion back and forth. How big, what are the dimensions, that it fits perfectly into the gao of the stupa, which material, what is the mudra. So I want only to show you this really covered picture of it, because that's also part of the grand opening, that we put the statue into the gao. So this is just the sneak preview for you how the statue looks like, but it's very, very beautiful. It lives at the moment with me here in my office, and then we put it into the stupa in October. Please come. The registration will open on August 1st for the October retreat. It will be Metsin Buddha and Arya Nagarjuna. And yes, please come, please be part of the grand opening. And since we are nearly finished the first one, we are working hard on the next two. Hanli, what are we doing there?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we've not been sitting quietly waiting. We've been getting ready. As I mentioned, we revised the drawings to make sure that we captured any small adjustments that had to be made so that we can build the next one even better. We also took a lot of time to make sure that the construction roads were carved on the way up so that the right trucks can get up and down the mountain, which is very important for our construction crew and for the people who are also doing a lot of the surveys. And you will notice there are several surveys that had to be completed for Stupa 7 and Stupa 4, especially because of the locations that they're at. Stupa 1 is at quite an easy location, but Stupa 4 and Stupa 7 are much higher up the mountain. And so we had to look at topographical surveys for that. We had to do the normal geographical technical surveys as well as in the hydrology report, because what they want to know is how the water will come down the mountain to make sure that it doesn't pool around any of the construction or the stupa, that it drops off the mountain. And those are all very important pieces for the civil engineers to have a look at before we can get a building permit signed off. So those are all completed.
I would like to really thank Hanli for that, and also Bob, our architect. It's really just so hard to find people to come out to Diamond Mountain and do that. So it's really always a week-long process to even get somebody coming out, and then waiting till they are wanting coming out, and then for the results. Thank you, Hanli, and really thank you, Bob, for working on that so consistently and make it happen.
Absolutely, yes. It's a lesson in patience for me. And then during this time also, the cutting of the marble was happening. So we shipped the marble for Stupa 7 and 4 and had that cut already. So that's complete. And at the same time, we were cutting the spines. If you remember, there's a sokshing, which is a spine that goes at the inside of the stupa. We found more trees, and Luke cut more of those for the upcoming stupas. The goal is to finish the construction design and to make sure that we have the permits ready to go for Stupa 7 and hopefully also Stupa 4. We may be able to do this at the same time. We'll see in the next quarter, but definitely Stupa 7. That's our big focus right now. And construction for Stupa 7 should start in August if everything goes as planned. So please send all your good wishes. Now we can share.
It's very interesting that you said it's a lesson in patience for you. I don't know, Hanli, if you remember, one of the first person we contacted before we started with, with the guts, he said to us, it's not that you are building the stupa is building you. And I can only agree that being part of this project have changed and learned me a lot. I don't know about you. You said patience. I think that's also one of the ones which I learning doing this project. Yeah.
I agree. It's always been one of my biggest lessons, but in this case, definitely the stupa is bringing those lessons to me. And I think that was Jim Westbrook who shared that piece of wisdom with us right at the beginning when we were just conceptualizing this whole project.
Yeah. That was, so now we know what he was talking about. And I'm curious, what is the next lesson? So obviously patience is now some kind of check mark. So I'm really looking forward. What is the next lesson we're learning? Good. Let's go to the pictures. This is a beautiful pictures from the construction road somewhere between Stupa 4 and Stupa 7. So we are talking numbers. Let's talk names. Stupa 7 is King of Lapis Light. So this will be the highest in the valley. And Stupa 4 is Beyond Sadness, initiated by the Malaysian donors. And this picture is taken from the construction road. You see in the picture a part of the construction road, but it's just, you see what a beautiful view it is down into the valley from the Stupa sites.
And it might be worth mentioning,
let's go back.
Sorry, is that remember that that construction road is going to be put back to be as natural as possible when we've finished.
Yes.
So if you're looking at that and you're thinking, oh, that's a road. Yes, that is, because we need to get people safely up and down the mountain, but we are going to cover it when we're finished with the project.
Yeah. So the next picture is the tree cutting. So we do for each tree a ceremony. That's why you see us schlepping all these containers, because they're all the offerings and altar items we are schlepping to the tree, which is in the wash where you cannot get with any of our vehicles. So that was early in the morning. And then we did the ceremony. Coco is always our master of the ceremony. He's here on the right side in the white dress, then our beloved carding, and I am on the left side. And in the next picture, you see Luke, our maintenance manager, who also picked the trees. He's also making the sochings because he's really a very, very talented carpenter cutting the tree. And now, final, how does the stupa and the stupa surrounding look like? Anli, I think you decided to speak to that.
Exactly, there we go. So this is an aerial view of a design for Stupa 7. So you will notice that there is the stupa in the middle, which is the same design as the first one, but it will be made out of a different marble, because every stupa will be made out of its own unique marble. All the marble comes from the quarry that is very close to Diamond Mountain on the other side from Cochise Marble, but each one will be different. So you'll see the stupa in the middle, the normal round circle around it, because that's where we're going to circumambulate. But here we also have some additional walls that have been built in, and also a covering. So Sunam was just about to show you the covering that goes over some of those walls to provide shade so that you can walk up to the last stupa, because this will be the final stupa of the 7, and sit there, look at the view, enjoy the stupa, and just contemplate as you are up there. The walls are there for a variety of reasons. Because of the site has been cut into the mountain, there has to be retainer walls very carefully placed to make sure that the mountain doesn't move down or any rocks don't fall down. So the walls there are very practical, but they're also incredibly beautiful, because the plan right now is to cover them with a blue marble or blue tile that's going to show up as you sit next to it, and you'll probably also be able to see a little bit from the bottom as you walk up. So in the next picture, you'll see quite clearly what the look and feel might be of this particular design, as it's been designed by Line and Space. As soon I mentioned Bob before, he's the principal at Line and Space, who's in charge of understanding exactly where to put the walls, how to curve them, making sure there's enough space for people to come there and experience it in the way that we're hoping that you will experience it. So this is really beautiful. Sunam, I don't know if you want to share anything else about the design.
I think what's also worth mentioning, you see on the picture, we have this beautiful white benches, which will be also covered with marble, so that you can really sit on the marble and meditate in the shade. And I think that's very beautiful. There will be one more view, a little bit more here, so that how it looks then from under the canopy in the shade. And
exactly. So we're very excited. I think this is going to be something that's going to be very unique, and each of the sites, I think, is going to have their own particular personality, if you like. It's going to have its own look and feel. So it won't be that they're all going to be looking the same. because we really want to acknowledge all the different countries and people who have been donating towards each of the different stupas.
Mm. Monday morning, I was sitting with my coffee at 5:30 in the morning outside, and I heard beeping around. And what happened? The marble was delivered for the stupa, King of Lapis Light. You see it here. It's quite a huge amount of marble. These are 16 pallets. Most of them have a dimension of 2 by 2 to 2 meters. So it's really a lot of marble they delivered. It's cutted. And so the marble is ready. As soon as we get the permit, construction will start. Another one, because it was, no, this one I think is the next day in the evening. I think that's the sunset, yeah.
And we're also expecting the marble for Stupa 4 to arrive in August also. So we're ready for both 7 and 4 from a marble perspective.
Good. Then we have a little bit other activities, which is mainly the path and preparing for the pilgrimage.
Yes. So let's start with the path. So the path has been built by Joe Gonzalez by hand and has been following a design that has been agreed with Line and Space, linking all the Stupa sites together. Currently, he is at Stupa 5 and he's past the Stupa 5 site on the way to Stupa 6, which is quite high up. And before October, he will be finishing the path up to Stupa 7. So that's going really, really well. Joe has been one of those people who have been wonderfully consistent, very responsible and accountable, and we just love working with him and very, very passionate about the work that he does.
Sorry that I'm interrupting you, but what I really love about Joe the most is when you are walking up the path, he knows all the plants which are growing here. So if there is on the path a very special plant, he keeps the plant, makes a small surrounding with stones so that nobody is stepping on it. And so that's why we chose Joe, that he is making it by hand and not we are running a bulldozer up the hill, because he is really preserving the beautiful plants we have here.
That's absolutely true. Another thing that we're doing is there have been some what we call stair tread mock-ups. And what that really means is that it's marble that has been cut to make steps. And this is the first pilot of the steps, because we know in time they're probably going to be steps put in on the mountain, but we need to understand exactly how they work and how to put them together. And so we have this pilot stairs that are going to be installed lower down, and it sounds like it's going to be near on the Jason Copper campus, so that we can enjoy the marble stairs, but also use it as practice to begin to install the stairs and really understand how they might work. So those have been delivered, and hopefully in the next month or two we're going to start putting those together. We've also started working on drilling a new well, which is very important because we would need water to be going up the mountain to make sure that everyone stays hydrated as they do some of the hiking. So that well has started, but has not yet been complete. That is our goal for the next quarter.
It might take a little bit longer.
Okay, there you go. Sorry. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe.
Patience.
See, there it is again. And then finally, we're starting to work on the marketing for the pilgrimage. So that's already begun. We're trying to come up with really novel and fun ideas to get people to come and see the marble stupas, but not just that, also for people to come as a pilgrimage, to walk on the mountain, to think about and contemplate where they're at, and to work on hope and healing around that. So that is the theme that's going to be driven through the marketing, and we're working on that. You will also notice a few videos that have been released today just to show you how the progress has happened. We've taken 9 months of footage, condensed into 3 minutes, to give you a really big overview of how the whole project has worked. And then finally, the pop-up cards. And maybe Sunam can talk a little bit about this, because she's been central to the design of that as well and where we are on that.
So I showed you the pop-up cards. The first ones I received already in February. So meanwhile, they are printed. We had a few back and forth and final adjustments, and they are on the way at the moment via ship to the United States. So that might take another 4 to 6 weeks, and then we can send them out to you. But they are beautiful.
Very excited.
We have a nice picture of the path.
Oh yeah, with Joe's glove.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you can see, I think you can also imagine how much work it is to build that by hand.
Yeah. One of the things I will say also, we spoke about Joe and just how passionate and careful and caring he is. I think one of the things that I'm very, very grateful for is that everyone that we've worked with has such respect for the land, such respect for the project. We have been very, very fortunate in working with amazing people.
Yeah.
From Line and Space, from Coaches Marble, Joe, everyone that has their hands in here, I think have been remarkable.
Yeah. And the most remarkable people are who donated by yesterday 6.6 million to the project. It's, yeah, it leaves me speechless every time. And yeah, I can only say thank you. Please come in October to the Medicine Buddha Arya Nagarjuna retreat. Be part of the grand opening and be there with experience the marble stupa. It has, I don't know, it has such an incredible, just standing next to it. It's the stupa itself. It's such a blessing to see a stupa, but the stupa out of marble, in my eyes, it's I don't know, the greatest blessing you can receive. So please come and celebrate yourself that you have been donating to that incredible stupa, and experience it yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.